Peace, and harmony. Hope everybody doing their thing, staying in tune, living and loving life from that high frequency. So, what are you looking forward to? I was just thinking like how, catching the vibe, how when you're looking forward to something, it's like a spell within itself. So basically, if you're looking forward to something, you're either you're putting too much energy towards searching for something great, which could 50-50 out of the time could end in great failure. You know what I mean? So more so you gotta focus on your now. Be fully present in your now to the entirety of the situation. You know what I mean? And naturally things will come in, naturally things will flow. You know, it's important not to look forward to anything, not look too much towards the future, you know, not look towards the past. You know, definitely reflect on both situations if you need be. I mean, to each his own, right? But more so it's just about being fully in the moment, fully knowing that everything is perfect in the moment. With that being said too, I had to pull over just to basically talk about this right quick. You know, there was a couple other things I wanted to mention, but I actually wanted to bring up a couple of ideas I was writing about yesterday. And it's just about how passion, as we're dealing with this new moon energy, as the new moon is here, you know, fully present, and we are now taking this inspired action upon these new things that we wish to create and manifest within our life. I was just thinking about how passion can sometimes turn to anger. And, you know, it's just like an indication of how, basically like emotional awareness unbalance. Like I said, it's an emotional awareness unbalance. And it's important to get your mind clear by flowing through your heart and knowing that if that passion doesn't have an outlet and you're putting too much work in, you're basically overexhausting yourself, and that passion turns back to anger. It turns to self-judgment or what is it called? Like almost like self-hate, but not self-hate necessarily. I don't know what the word to put it in, but it's important to have for that anger, that aggression, that intense action, put that towards something. That way it's passion towards that project, towards that venture, towards that, you know, person, place, or thing, whatever it is that you're working on, or, you know, basically passionate about whatever. You know, don't be passionate about your job. Don't be passionate about your, you know, whatever, yada yada, whatever it is. You can have passion towards it, but know that if you put too much of that passion towards that thing that doesn't serve you, that's non-beneficial to your path or your being in the long term, then basically it's just gonna spoil over and turn to, you know, anger towards yourself, aggression towards yourself. And all these emotions come up because they start within you first and foremost. You know what I mean? So, you know, definitely get to the root of it. Definitely know where you should put your passion and what you're truly passionate about. You know, even if it starts like a little bit during the day, like like even just jokingly, like if it's like a minute a day, if you can focus for a minute a day on that passionate thing, it'll surely grow. You know what I mean? Or like that old saying, you know, focus for an hour a day. That's even a little bit better. But I mean, even if you could put a full day in where it's like you're taking your time, you don't have to rush things. You know what I mean? And this is just all some things that I was, you know, catching a vibe with, just kind of reflecting on as this new moon energy is right here, right now, and we're coming about. And it's just, you're playing these energies of aggression in some way, shape, or form. Just make sure you balance that aggression. Make sure that aggression has an outlet, so it's passion. You know what I mean? Be careful not to get that unbalanced emotion that turns to anger towards yourself or anger towards a person. Because if you have an anger towards another person, that's really anger towards yourself in some way, shape, or form. Like a certain aspect about yourself that you're angry about. For instance, like procrastination. That's something that a lot of us have to let go. It's easy to procrastinate, but it's hard to take action sometimes. You know what I mean? And procrastination, basically that's like, if you're, like for instance, if somebody else is procrastinating about responding to something, procrastinating about a collaboration, procrastinating about, you know, whatever it be, that's a form of yourself that is basically just a test of something that you have to let go of, the last little bit that you need to get to the root of, to get to that balance place. You need to let go of that, you know, forgive yourself. Just know that, just basically releasing that procrastination, and know from here on out and always that you were going to take that inspired action as soon as you feel it. You know what I mean? With that being said too, it's not all about action, it's not all about taking initiative, but at times it's very important. Because without action, nothing comes about, you can't have a new experience, you know what I mean? So you gotta have that action some way, shape, or form. Also, with that being said, what else was I gonna bring up? Let me look through this note real quick. But yeah, like the way I worded it here is almost even better. Letting go of past procrastination is the final waves of the test. Very much so like the people in your life, like I was saying. That's maybe a better way to put it. Like if that procrastination wave does come up, that's like the final waves. And if it does come up multiple times, then make sure to transmute, make sure to keep flowing, make sure to not let it bother you too much, and make sure not to soak in it. Soak in it only to the point to where you can find out what it is that like you have an imbalance for. And it's not about like just being selfish or self-centered. That's not the way this is supposed to come across. It's about the unconditional love. That universal love. But at the same time too, we are all unique individuals. But when we come together, it's a stronger energy. It amplifies the energy even more. You know what I mean? But at the same time too, like that's why we can play these energies out, and you can see it through a person you're close with, a person you truly care about, even a person that really you don't necessarily vibe with. Maybe something non-beneficial. It could be a part of yourself that you've cleansed, that you've released, or a part of yourself that you really don't necessarily like, or you've worked towards letting go. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically by healing that person, by helping that person out, by not being too aggressive, not being too loving, just kind of have that perfect balance. It's in perfect harmony, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm putting too many words in to try to describe that, but basically it's real simple, but when you try to talk about it, it's real difficult. Right? Man. But also, basically like a remedy to procrastination is being impeccable with your word, always following through about what you say you're going to do. Always following through about what you're passionate about. See, it all ties back into that passion. That new moon, cusp between Capricorn and Aquarius, right? You got to take your logical action. You got to take the action that makes sense to your logical mind, but make sure that it's in a creative way. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And just touching on it one more time, just make sure not to overexhaust yourself in anything, really, in any type of aggressive tendency, even if it has an outlet, and even if you're passionate about it, make sure not to overexhaust yourself. There is times to sit back and marinate on that idea, and there's times to take, 1,000,000 miles an hour right at that idea. You know what I mean? To rush recklessly at that idea, it all depends. We all have our personal balance. We all have our personal flow. We all know within, when you're truly flowing through your inner harmony, what's really going to resonate and work for you. You know what I mean? With that being said too, just take it slow. Let that river flow. Whether it's that river of water, fire, earth, or air. We all have these elements within us. So utilize all your elements, know how they work for you, know thyself, and everything will be truly in harmony. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's basically it. We vibing, right? Peace, and harmony. Hope everybody doing their thing, staying in tune, living and loving life in the iHeart frequency.